For today's deep dive, we're getting into a really complex, often misunderstood topic. The functional impact of parental autism spectrum disorder on, the day-to-day of raising a child.
Right. And what's crucial here is that the analysis we're looking at, it moves past this outdated deficit model.
It's not about a lack of love.
Not at all. It's about what the source calls a profound contextual mismatch. You've got a parent whose brain is wired for predictability, for sensory order, and that's colliding with the absolute chaos of parenting.
The friction there seems inevitable. So, okay, where does the analysis zero in first?
It goes straight to neurocognition because parenting it's fundamentally an exercise in executive function.
Planning, organizing, shifting gears on a dime.
Exactly. And the data shows something like 75 to 85% of autistic adults have measurable challenges in that area. This creates what the analysis calls the reversal crisis.
Okay, break that down.
An autistic adult often builds systems, external prompts, to manage what's called prospective memory, remembering to do things in the future.
Right.
But as a parent, you have to become the prompt for someone else. That reversal is a huge cognitive lift.
And when that system fails, the outcome isn't small, is it? We're talking about household chaos.
And we are. Missed medical appointments, routines that just fall apart. Functionally, it can start to look a lot like neglect, which creates this deep anxiety and hypervigilance in a child.
And I'd imagine even small changes are a big deal.
The huge deal. The source notes that a child, say, refusing to put on their shoes, that's not just an annoyance. For the autistic parent, that break-in routine can trigger a literal fight-or-flight trauma response.
That sounds completely exhausting, and that's just the cognitive stress. What about the physical side of it, the sensory processing?
Well, parenting is an inherently high-sensory job, right? It's sticky, it's loud, it's unpredictable. For an autistic parent, this can create a chronic state of physiological hyperarousal. The brain just can't filter it all out.
Okay, so let's get specific. What are the biggest sensory hurdles?
The two that come up most are auditory and tactile.
So sound and touch.
With auditory hypersensitivity, a child's cry isn't just processed as a signal of need. It can be a nociceptive stimulus.
Meaning it's physically painful.
Yes, like actual pain.
Yeah.
And the response is avoidance noise-canceling headphones may be physically withdrawing from the child, which can, of course, disrupt that early attachment bond.
And with touch, the tactile defensiveness.
You have to imagine, for some parents, a hug or sticky hands don't feel comforting. They can feel invasive, irritating.
And the child can't possibly understand that.
No. And that's the core risk. The parent's sensory limit becomes the child's emotional wound. The child just knows that mom or dad flinched away, and they read that as emotional rejection.
Wow. Okay, so we have this organizational struggle, this sensory withdrawal. How does it play out in communication?
This is where we have to talk about the double empathy problem. It's not a one-way street. The failure is mutual.
What do you mean?
The autistic parent is speaking a literal, explicit language. The neurotypical child is communicating through subtext, tone, nonverbal cues. They're just speaking different languages.
Which brings up the issue of flat affect, right? The reduced facial expressiveness.
Yes, and that's critical. A neurotypical child uses their parent's face for social referencing. They look to you to see if a situation is fun or scary or safe.
And if the parent's face is neutral?
The child is left without a social compass. It genuinely impedes their own emotional development, and we can see this in the numbers. Secure attachment rates are lower, around 45.6%, compared to the norm of 60 to 70%.
So wrapping this all together, it comes back to that contextual mismatch. These are measurable effects. What does that mean for how we help?
It means we have to stop trying to make the autistic parent act neurotypical. That's a losing battle. The focus has to be on changing the environment.
So practical support.
Exactly. You scaffold their executive function, give the parent visual schedules and timers, and you have to aggressively manage their sensory load, which means structured, non-judgmental respite care.
It's about supporting the parent so they can support the child. So here's a final thought for you to mull over. What if society addressed the systemic failures here? The isolation, the stigma, the total lack of this kind of support, instead of just blaming the neurotype. How profoundly could that change the well-being of the next generation?
Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, it'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule. You'll get a follow-up email immediately after purchasing a session that will have the Zoom link that coincides with the day and time that you picked. I will get an email too that you scheduled a session, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk. I look forward to working with you.